for students who had failed the college entrance exams, lay sprawled on stone slabs, hiding from reality. But their secret sanctuary was abruptly disrupted by a group of college students from out of town.
Hey, you bastards!
Stonecutters was the derogatory term the college kids used for locals. Hearing it, the four fell silent. They, too, had once imagined following their father's footsteps as stonecutters. But the town's quarrying industry was no longer what it used to be. Youth, which should have been full of promise, had instead built a wall of confusion around them. Yet their stubborn pride refused to accept defeat. Driven by frustration, they headed to the university town to vent their anger. Under the green shade of the campus lawns, everyone was dressed sharp and bright. The four stonecutters felt both envy and resentment. Just as they were about to leave, a frisbee thrown by some students accidentally landed on the road. They drove right over the frisbee. The students responded with angry gestures. Annoyed, Mike immediately reversed and ran over it again. And just like that, a grudge was born between town and gown. After venting their anger, the four still had nothing to do. Watching the energetic college players on the field, Mike sighed. He'd been the best quarterback in high school. Now, every year, new football stars emerged in college, but his name would never be among them. They were like so many other young people who'd missed their chance, each with different personalities, each with different dreams. One of them, Dave, had always dreamed of becoming a top cyclist. Inspired by his idol, an Italian cycling team, he ate pasta, tried to speak Italian. His parents were frustrated but helpless. When Dave heard his idols were coming to town for a race, he celebrated by racing down the highway, picking a semi-truck as his opponent. The driver warned him to stop, and a police car chased him with sirens blaring, but Dave pretended not to hear and pushed on. The truck roared like a trapped beast, while Dave's yellow jersey flashed like morning sun. He succeeded in passing the truck and crossed into Ohio, beyond the jurisdiction of the pursuing officers. He excitedly shared the news about his idols with his friends, only to learn that Munch was planning to leave town. Munch was small in stature, but he already had a girlfriend. He decided to leave the aimless foursome and find a job. Dave tried to convince him to stay, but Munch was ready to face real life. Yet the moment he met his new boss, he was insulted. The first words out of the boss's mouth were shorty. Enraged, Munch smashed a dial plate and walked out. His three friends cheered when he returned. By the time the boss came out to look, they were already speeding away, jobless, but free again. One day, a college girl walked by, and a book slipped from her bag. Dave noticed. Using his cycling skills, he caught up with her and struck up a conversation. She thought he was an Italian exchange student. Dave was completely captivated by Catherine's smile. That evening, he brought Cyril, who could play guitar, to Catherine's dorm. Cyril strummed a tune while Dave sang an Italian ballad. In the soft glow of evening light, the song felt intimate. Girls leaned out of dorm windows to listen, and Catherine was clearly enchanted. But her roommate grew suspicious, and called Catherine's admirer on campus. While Dave had won Catherine's heart, Cyril wasn't so lucky. He was too slow to escape and got beaten up by Catherine's admirer. And that admirer turned out to be the same student whose frisbee they had destroyed. The college kids came looking for Dave at a diner, but they ran into the other three first. Munch, small and trying to avoid trouble, found that the other side wasn't interested in backing down.
Out of here. Smart move, shorty.
A fight broke out, plates and cups shattered. By the time Dave arrived, his friends were already in a tough brawl. Just as he was about to join, the police showed up and broke it all up. They were taken to the university dean's office, along with the college students for a stern talk. Afterward, the dean announced that the university would soon host a cycling race, and townspeople were invited to participate. If the two sides insisted on settling their rivalry, they could do it on the racetrack. Mike's competitive spirit flared, but Dave, who should have been the most excited, felt no enthusiasm. He was dating Catherine now, and joining the race would expose him as a stonecutter. Cyril was indifferent, and Munch, facing reality, saw no point in racing either. For the first time in years, the four were divided. As they argued, their rivals once again invaded their secret spot. Seeing Catherine with them, Dave hid, too ashamed to show himself. Furious, Mike climbed to a high point, taunted them with a bold gesture, then leapt into the water below. Not to be outdone, Luther stripped and jumped in after him. The two started racing from the same point, but Mike soon fell behind. Luther deliberately slowed down, then sped up again to mock him as Mike tried to catch up, but Mike kept pushing. The word quit seemed foreign to him. In his fierce focus, he slammed into a rock. Yet, ignoring the pain, he turned around and kept going. Even Luther was taken aback. Seeing this, the others rushed into the water to stop Mike. Though he'd lost, his determination woke something in Dave and Munch. They realized that even if effort sometimes ends in failure, what matters is refusing to give up, again and again. Reignited with belief, Dave worked days at his father's used car lot, and trained hard every night. Even in the rain, he kept his eyes forward, his feet never stopping. When Dave asked his father if he could follow his idol's path and enter the cycling race, he was met with disdain and refusal. Then several college students came to the lot wanting to return a recently purchased car. His father had promised a 3-month return policy, but now refused, claiming there was no written contract. As the argument heated up, Dave stepped in and urged his father to honor his word.
All I want is a refund.
Refund? Are you crazy? Refund? Refund? Refund?
The stress triggered his father's heart attack, and as his father lay unconscious in the hospital, Dave processed the refund himself. Seeing his father like that filled Dave with guilt. He wanted to quit the race, but his mother encouraged him not to miss this chance. Dreams shouldn't be waited for until one is old, for then, one will regret it too late. Encouraged, Dave stopped hesitating. At the starting line, he was focused and ready. When his idol's team entered, he clapped enthusiastically for them. The Italian team shot ahead, and Dave pushed hard to keep up. His eyes were fixed ahead, the wind roaring in his ears. He passed one rider after another, but when he finally caught up to his idols, and smiled at them with admiration, they responded by hooking his chain and knocking him back. Dave fell behind, thinking it was just a prank. When he caught up a second time, they deliberately tripped him. Dave crashed to the ground, and with him fell his faith. Covered in dust, Dave looked up, as the team he once idolized rode away, their laughter echoing in his wake. He would rather have been defeated fairly, like Mike, than betrayed by those he admired. The blow shattered Dave's spirit. Back home, when his father scolded him, Dave didn't fight back this time. The deceit felt like a funeral for his innocence, and parents are the intangible spiritual support.
Didn't want you to be this miserable. A little bit's all I asked for.
Facing the truth, Dave found Catherine and confessed everything. He wasn't an exchange student, just a stonecutter from a small town. He thought honesty would be met with honesty, but she turned and left after slapping him, leaving Dave heartbroken. At home, he took down all his cycling posters, ready to accept life as a stonecutter. Seeing him so low, his father took him out for a talk. He asked Dave about his plans. Dave admitted he'd taken the college entrance exam again, and done well, but he didn't want to go to university. He wanted to stay bound to his three friends as stonecutters forever.
You're not a cutter. I'm a cutter.
The pride of stonecutters belongs to the glory of Arthur's generation. His father does not want Dave to navigate his own path using their map, nor want him to be trapped by the label stonecutter, and have his dreams confined by it. Even in their confusion about the future, no one could take that step for them. They still needed dreams to give them strength. That night, Dave grew in a way he hadn't before. The next day, he found his friends, and convinced them to enter the university's team cycling relay, which required exactly 4 members. But Mike, after being defeated, had lost his confidence. Faced with Mike's reluctance, Dave declared he'd ride all 200 laps himself. In the end, Mike agreed to join, but with Munch too small and Cyril lacking stamina, the burden fell on Dave alone. In a dim warehouse, he repaired the bicycle his idols had damaged, and began to mend his own broken dream. Then he rode it to the track, lap after lap, tireless, determined to give his imperfect youth a worthy ending. The night before the race, his mother brought 4 jerseys printed with stonecutter. This time, Dave didn't shy away. He accepted the identity with pride. On race day, Dave stood tall, because stonecutter wasn't a slur anymore. It stood for the pride of their town's history. At the starting gun, Luther's athletic team took the lead, while the stonecutters, as outsiders, were placed last. But the disadvantage didn't slow Dave down. He conserved his energy at first, then after 2 laps began to push hard, overtaking team after team from the outside lane. After more than a dozen laps, other teams began switching riders, but Dave was riding the whole race alone. He used the chance to take first place, and held it for half the race. Luther, now off the track, watched anxiously, while Dave's 3 friends cheered wildly. Dave's father, listening from his car radio, got so excited he drove straight to the track. Dave was in peak form, leading everyone, but as he tried to lap the last place rider, a collision sent him and his bike crashing down. He got back up immediately, blood already flowing from his ankle. His face showed pain, and even his strong will couldn't fully overcome the injury. His friends urged Mike to take over, but Mike, already defeated once, refused. In desperation, Munch grabbed the bike. Ignoring the laughs and jeers from the crowd, he pushed with all his might, but his size put him at a disadvantage, and the athletic team retook first place. Next, Cyril took over. Though tall, he was physically weak, and his stiff legs couldn't find speed. He was quickly swallowed by the pack. Mike thought it was over, but then Luther, now back in the lead, began celebrating early, taunting them from the track. That mockery reignited the fire in Mike. He put on a helmet, stood up, and took the bike from Cyril. The town security guard cheered for the stonecutters. Families of stonecutters clapped in strong, rhythmic support for these young men fighting for their pride. With explosive power and relentless grit, Mike quickly climbed to 4th place, but cycling wasn't his strength, and he soon reached his limit. Dave, his wounds bandaged, saw the hopeful look in his parents' eyes, and decided to give his youth one final fight. After Mike came off, Dave got back on the bike. He had Munch strap his feet to the pedals, locking himself to his dream. The final 15 laps were his to conquer. The real race was just beginning. Dave found his rhythm again, passing rider after rider he'd already overtaken once before. Even with blood still seeping from his legs never stopped moving. With 2 laps to go, Dave was back in 2nd place. Only he and the sports team were left in the final showdown. What is youth? What is growth? The film had already given the answer. Youth is 3 magnificent chases in life. It has hesitation, falls, and doubt, but also the courage to rise again, to stop running, to surpass everything. In the end, the stonecutters defied the odds and won the championship. From that day on, the arrogant college students could no longer dismiss them as just stonecutters, because the word had taken on a new meaning. Now, it was a champion's title, a winner's pride.